Hello everyone and welcome back to AustinPlus commentary, where today we are finally doing a review on the How to Train Your Dragon movie, the live action one released 2025 last month, or the month before that. This film was directed by the same director as who did the original movies of How to Train Your Dragon, and it was just absolutely amazing. This movie, I wanted it to be good. From what we had seen, like production pictures, it didn't look like it was gonna be good, but boy was I mistaken. This movie is so captivating and everything. It's amazing. It's an amazing movie. I've seen it twice, mainly because one of them was like I was bored one day, and I love How to Train Your Dragon. I love the shows. I love the spin-offs. I love everything about it. So this movie was very near and dear to my heart. So that's why I think, just especially with this review, it's very important. So let's jump into, as usual, best characters, top 5 scenes, how it did at the box office, and how good of a comparison is it to the old movies. Either way, let's check this out. Now, I know this is going to sound very weird, but this is how I felt with the very first movie. Now, same thing kind of carries over, but my favorite character was Hiccup and Toothless. The others, I give them honorable mentions, like here. All of them, I think, were amazing. However, Hiccup and Toothless, it's just something else. I love the quote, like, thank you for nothing, you useless reptile. I think that's an iconic line, and it's used also in the series as well. It's very funny, and it's really cool to see their bond. Even in live action form, it doesn't matter how you watch it, it's just so good, and I think that's why they're the best characters. Now, with this movie, I actually don't think there's a point of doing the top 5 scenes, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's already a live action depiction. With this movie, the reason it was longer than the original, and it's actually very simple, and I only realized it until after I watched it. If any of you have watched the Book of Dragons, spin-off, it's about 16 minutes long. There's a scene in this movie that covers that as well as a different one. I can't remember what it was, but it covers quite a fair bit with this movie, and that's why it's actually a bit longer. Would I like to see live action versions of the series? Absolutely, but it's a bit obviously harder with the likes of this, with CGI and all that, but I still think doing top 5 scenes, it is a bit pointless because I'd just be reviewing the original one. I'll honorably mention that the Book of Dragons scene was good, very informative, but it wasn't still my favorite scene. So that's why. How to Train Your Dragon live action, released in 2025, made $450 million in total in box office revenue. This movie made $84 million on opening weekend, which is 42.3% of the overall total gross of the film. This movie's production budget was actually $150 million. Now, that is insane. This movie, I would have thought they would use a lot more. This movie is so good. And with the likes of CGI and all that is incredible. I can see, the thing is, I remember the day this was announced. I remember this day this thing was announced. If you told me that, I would not believe you. It's released now. I've seen it two times, and it's made it was $150 million. I know that doesn't sound like, it sounds like a lot. So, I mean, if I had that money, yeah. But for a film of that capacity, is insane. Considering this movie has been out for a month, nearly 2, all theaters average around $4,700 in show with this movie. Now, there's definitely important talk of how does this actually compare to the original movie. Now, going back to what I said earlier, the Book of Dragons little special that was about 20 minutes long is technically a part of this movie, so that's another reason why it was longer. But also, they dragged out some certain scenes, like the training scenes, and they wanted to showcase the live action, dragons to, immersify the whole theater and obviously the people watching it. So that is the reason why it's longer, because yes, of course, like dragons in a movie that is based off a cartoon. You have that. You want to see them more than anything. So even increasing it a tiny bit just to see that is a good idea nonetheless. But based on story and coming from someone who loves How to Train Your Dragon, I've watched every single series, every single special, and I've also watched every single movie. I will say that this is very accurate. I watch How to Train Your Dragon very often. I love that movie. Cool. Like I'm a person that tends to watch movies often. Any movie I see at a theater or in a cinema, assume that I've watched it more than once. I can assure you of that, except for a film that I'll get onto in a couple days' time. But like How to Train Your Dragon was so immersive, and like the landscape they used, obviously that was real. A lot of the like places that were filmed for the imagery was absolutely phenomenal. So the comparisons, lengthwise, there is a reason for that, and I appreciate the reason for that. Storyline-wise, absolutely amazing. On point, more on point than you could probably get. But it's just still an amazing film nonetheless. I think people thought this was going to be bad. I don't know anyone that's seen it bad, but this is why we go to reviews. I want to see what people think bad, because I know there's so many people, even in the theater. I went to go see this twice. There were people clapping. That doesn't happen very often unless it's a Marvel film that's at least 3 hours long, or a Doctor Strange film that has Mr. Fantastic. Those are the only two reasons why there should be clapping. So let's check out the reviews. This is all of them. Most of them are pretty positive. I'm still emotionally recovering in the best way possible. Oh, that's funny. Right, I want to see this. Oh boy. Oh god. Okay. Okie dokie. Oh dear lord. I honestly don't know how this movie managed to get any kind of recognition, because it's absolutely atrocious. I know I've always said people are entitled to an opinion, but if you're looking for a film that brings absolutely nothing new to the table and bores you to tears, this is your masterpiece. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is a depiction of a film that's already been done. So I just had to get that off my chest. See, the reason I wanted to read these was because I know there are people that won't like it. I know that. Let's start with the plot. It's so shallow. That's calling it predictable and an understatement. A film that was done nearly about a decade ago, is redone in live action form. But the plot was predictable? Of course the entire movie is going to be predictable, because the film has already been made. If you thought you were looking for a different plot, this movie probably wasn't something you should have gone and seen. I'm moving to a different paragraph. Then there's Hiccup, the so-called hero of the movie. I don't know what's worse, his name or the... Oh boy. Or the fact that his entire existence is centered around the idea that he's different from everyone else. Newsflash, being a misfit isn't enough to make you interesting.
Boom. Roasted.
Okay, alright, this one actually seems somewhat okay. Where do I even begin? How to Train Your Dragon is the perfect example of how a movie can somehow ruin every single thing it touches. Alright, rough intro. Honestly, reading these is like you trying to figure out the explanations. It's like a PEEL paragraph you would do in English GCSEs. This film is an absolute nightmare from start to finish, and honestly, I don't know how it managed to get any positive reviews at all. Well, you're looking at it, mate. I'm positive. It's an insult to animation, storytelling, and quite frankly, cinema as a whole. Right, this I am actually sort of bearable with. Don't get me wrong, I don't agree with it, but I get where he's coming from. I know for a fact there are people that don't like the animation. Because people, if you... I get that. I get that because the animation, yes, it's not like the original movies, but it's the whole idea is it kind of veers off from that, so you you veer away from that idea completely. But they do look very similar to the ones in the show, except for maybe Hook Fang and the terrible Zippleback and the Deadly Nadder and the gruesome Grunkle, to be fair. I think the only one that really looks the same is Toothless, if I'm gonna be honest. First off, the plot is a joke. A kid and his pet dragon. Wow, so original, right? Is there a point you're trying to make, mate? If you've seen any movie, read any book, or looked at a single piece of media since 2000, you know exactly how this will play out. It's predictable, tired, and full of every tired trope you could imagine. Okay. Predictable. Okay. I think if you're going to do this, you should do this with the How to Train Your Dragon original movie. You can literally guess the entire story in the first 5 minutes, and the rest of the film does absolutely nothing to surprise you. He might have not seen the original movie. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. The animation, let's talk about that disaster. It looks like someone gave a group of toddlers a box of crayons and asked them to design dragons. You know what? I as much as I don't agree with this, and I've already said that, this guy's creative. This guy is very creative. Some of these creatures are so ugly that they could stop a clock, and the so-called action scenes are just mind-numbingly dull. There's no thrill, no excitement, just endless flying scenes that make you wish you were in a different movie. Okay. Dragons fly. Action scenes often involve the dragon, so I can see where he doesn't like that. And let's talk about Hiccup, the main character. Don't go after my boy Hiccup. His name should be Burkup. You've done it now. Because this is what he is, an absolute snooze fest. I will say, in the original movies, I didn't like Hiccup. I will say that. The other two movies, he's so much better. This kid is as interesting as a wet napkin. You know what? Creative, mate. I'll give it to you. The character development, non-existent. He goes from being a pointless, whiny little brat to a whiny little brat with a dragon. Great character arc, right? I felt zero connection to him. Yeah, okay, I kind of get that. How do you respond back saying, I actually... no, okay, I won't do that. Helpful, yeah. Honestly, I want to give him the thumbs up because he's so creative, and if it's a film that I don't like, this is stuff that I would come out with, so I highly respect that. But to me, this movie was absolutely amazing. My official review is definitely this. It was phenomenal cinema. I appreciate people not gonna like everything, but an amazing movie nonetheless. How to Train Your Dragon live action. I can't wait to see another one. Oh wait! It has officially been confirmed already that How to Train Your Dragon live action 2 has been confirmed for June 2027, and you can best believe I'll be going to see that. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is my favorite, mainly because you get introduced to more title characters, but you also see so many more types of dragons. I love How to Train Your Dragon 2. So when they said we're doing a live action one of them, I was so happy. Just maybe I think the Monstrous Nightmare looks cool. The Deadly Nadder, very good. Just the one you need to fix, I like even the Hideous Zippleback, that one's actually fine. The Gruesome Grunkle, fix that. It looks nothing like Meatlug or any other Grunkle. The Terrible Terror, absolute great depiction. Looks a bit more like a chameleon, which I think they were going for, but looks amazing. So I cannot wait for the second live action sequel. I love this movie, and I can't wait to see what they do for the second one. I recently just watched the second one again, and the third. If they do a whole live-action trilogy, oh my god. It'd also be fun to watch the 20-minute versions again in live-action, but I doubt they'll probably do that, because they're not obviously as popular. But if I saw a live-action show of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, I'd be so happy. But everyone, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe and comment what else you would like to see on the channel. And without further ado, I hope you all have an amazing day as always, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!
Yeah!